been quite the adventure already today. I'll wait a couple minutes before I go into story time in case anyone else decides to pop in. But I had to adjust a couple of settings over the past couple weeks to let me know if the sound and everything is still good. And so far from what I'm seeing on my end, I've had 0 dropped frames so far from the time I've started streaming. So far the Starlink is working really good. So hope that'll continue. Sure is, Amar. How are you doing? We do have sound, right? You guys can hear me okay? Wasn't quite sure if this would even come together today, but looks like there was just enough snow to make things interesting, so I decided to head out. Excuse the line down the middle of the screen. Well, now that I know that everything's working with the Starlink, I can get the roof mount for the vehicle, but I didn't want to buy the roof mount and then have to return it if the Starlink wasn't working how I had intended it to. So that's currently the Starlink sitting on the dashboard and the reflection of it on the windshield. But so far, I'm really happy with it, just from streaming so far today. From what I can see, is 0 dropped frames, and then it's just sitting on the dashboard. It's not even on the roof or anything for fewer obstructions. So wasn't quite sure if it would work to the standard that I was hoping for, just being sitting on the dash, not oriented in any specific direction, but it's working really well, so I'm happy with that. So, story time. I started the vehicle, I left my house and started getting stuff ready to go streaming. I fired up the Starlink, which is the first time I've actually used it in motion. But I fired up my computer, and then all of a sudden I realized that my computer was not charging and the Starlink wasn't turning on. So I figured, it must be something with the inverter. It must not be plugged into the outlet that I have here. So I was like, okay, I got out, stopped the vehicle, got out, went check that, and it was plugged in, but there was no power going to the inverter. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. So then I decided to as I was pulling over, the Starlink actually slid off the dashboard, which was less than ideal, and kind of bumped a bunch of the cords, so it moved the inverter. So long story short is the inverter that I have mounted under the seat must have moved just enough, and the prongs for the terminals for the positive and negative power, positive and neutral, must have like almost barely arced on the bottom of the metal of the seat. So that was fun. I was like, something smells kind of hot in here. So I was like, oh boy, I better go check that. So right now I have the inverter not plugged into the extension that I usually have to have it mounted under the seat. So right now it's currently just sitting on the passenger seat, directly wired into the cigarette outlet. And the reason that it wasn't working originally is because it turns out that the inverter itself and the fuses inside of there are rated to a higher flow of electricity than the fuse in the extender that I was using to get it under the seat. So it wasn't working because the fuse in the extender blew when the Starlink powered up, because it requires more power consumption to start up than it does when it's actually running. But then I was able to get that all taken care of. And of course, as I was reaching under the seat, I sliced up my finger, so got that bandaged up. But other than that, we're doing pretty good. I will do my best, Belly. Oh boy, almost got a crash up here. People never know how to use this roundabout, especially when it's snowing. So this is always slightly interesting. I'm just going to check road conditions real quick to see where we might want to go. I'm thinking we'll eventually start heading a little bit south towards Oshkosh, but I don't want to take the interstate because, well, that's usually... Oh, we got a fishtail. We've sure got a fishtail pickup truck here. Good gracious, he must have bald-ass tires if he's doing that in a pickup. We just got a vehicle just parked right here. This is Wisconsin drivers for you in the snow, let me tell you. It's part of the reason I wanted to get out here streaming was because, well, even with just a little bit of snow, Wisconsin is known for not so good drivers in the snow, especially around here, so... That roundabout that we went through back there is one of the largest roundabouts around here. I think the only ones bigger, like down in, or the ones same size, are in Neenah and Green Bay. And that wasn't always a roundabout there. And people in this area still haven't figured out how the heck to use it. Because there's there's a Fazoli's right on the corner there that I sometimes go and eat at. Actually, rarely go and eat at. But you can sit there in the parking lot, or not in the parking lot, in the cafeteria and just sit there for like 5 minutes and order your food. And in that 5 minutes, you will see probably about 15 car crashes almost happen on a perfectly clear, sunny day. So right now we're pretty much right in the center of Appleton. The heavier snow bands are predicted to go kind of south towards Oshkosh, so that's probably where we're gonna start heading. But like I said, we're probably not going to take the interstates because, one, they're usually more well maintained. Two, I really don't want to get in a car crash today because I've had that happen a couple times because people don't know how to drive on these roads. Because there's the Highway 41 or Interstate 41 that goes around here, and then Highway 441, which goes, it's kind of a bypass for this area up here. But there's so many people getting on and off there, and with the curves, people slide out all the time. Like, there can be a 32nd of an inch of snow, and people are already spinning out. People take the curves way too fast, so we're going to avoid that area for now. We probably won't want to head on 41 northbound any later today as well, because as you may have seen in the title of the stream and on the thumbnail, that there's a Monday night football game in Green Bay between the Packers and the Saints, so 41 is going to be absolutely packed with people heading north for that. Yeah, difference between, well, in comment to that, Amy, a lot of people say that Southerners can't drive in the snow, but on the other hand, I think that Southerners take the snow a lot more seriously because, well, they know that it's slippery. People up north here just are like, yeah, I can make it, then they overestimate their abilities or the abilities of the vehicle. Like, yeah, I got a four-wheel drive truck, but it's four-wheel drive, not four-wheel stop. And people just decide to pull out in front of you like that. Fun times. Eventually we'll probably get on some country or county roads around here. But first things first is start heading a little south. Yeah, people think that just because they have a beefed up truck with high suspension, that it's four-wheel drive or auto or whatever they have, they think that they can drive through the snow and drive how they normally do, but cannot state enough, four-wheel drive helps you accelerate and slightly helps you stay on the road with traction control, but it does not help you stop. Four-wheel drive, not four-wheel stop. So a lot of times the vehicles that you see spun out are the bigger vehicles, SUVs, and not as often around here at least. You see the smaller cars spun out because people know, hey, this car doesn't have four-wheel drive, so they're more careful accelerating, turning, everything. So far, how has the stream quality been for frames dropped and signal and all that fun stuff? Because I also decided to, earlier today actually, I've been thinking about it for a while, I got a computer-based bonding service that I can bond both my Starlink and just my mobile hotspot in the vehicle so that it doubles up on the internet so that they work together, so that the upload data rate is better, and then as well, if like Starlink cuts out because you go under like a bunch of trees or something, it'll kick in and the main hotspot in the vehicle will take over. And if we get in the middle of nowhere where that one doesn't have any signal, it'll use mostly Starlink. So I don't know how much of it is just Starlink doing its thing and how much is the bonding service as well, because I haven't used the Starlink or the bonding service before today. But if it works well, I'm just going to stick with it, because if it's not broke, don't fix it. Well, that's good to hear that it's working pretty dang good. We've all got a crash up here. I see a couple cops on the other direction facing towards us. Oh yeah, that's a crunch, all right. Oh, nice of Stream Elements to finally join us. I was starting to wonder if it was actually working or not. Actually, we might take 441 south. I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to take 441 to 41 just to get south into the heavier snow bands, and then we'll go exploring a little bit. Really excited to show you guys some of the overlays as I get to use them. But, ooh, are they good? Yeah, they took that corner too fast and just went right up onto the curb as they were pulling into the Goodwill. people drive like this. Like, look at this guy on the left. Some people, I tell ya. A couple days ago during that snowstorm in Wisconsin, one that I wasn't able to chase because I was coming back from graduation, but my family was driving back from airport in Illinois, back up to northeast Wisconsin, and man, there was a vehicle, he had to be going like 15, he had to be going like 5 over the speed limit when everyone else was doing like 20 under, because it was just so bad. Lo and behold, about 10 minutes later, we saw two cops on the side of the road, and he was in the ditch. He had spun out and hit someone else. It's like, it's one thing if you spin out and put yourself in a ditch, but it would really suck for the other person as well, because it's like, really? Yep, definitely could have been avoided. And would you guess what? It was a pickup truck. Who would have thunk? This curve right here is the one that's super notorious for a bunch of crashes in the area. Because people don't realize how tight of a turn it is until they're on it, and it's also a bridge. So it ices up a lot faster than the rest of the roads because all the cold air goes underneath. And the bridge temp goes down faster than the rest of the roads in the area. In fact, right here at this exit, it was last trooper. I think the signal might have cut out there for a minute, but at that exit back there last winter, the winter before, I can't remember, there was a crash and there was a state trooper pulled over and someone else didn't navigate the turn correctly and smashed the back end of the trooper. Luckily the trooper was okay, but it's like people just don't slow down enough, especially when they see brake lights and police lights, and it's like, okay. So far, traffic isn't too heavy going northbound for the Packer game, but I expect that to change probably in the next hour, hour and a half-ish, because it's a 7:20 kickoff game. People will probably get off of work around 4 and start heading up. Maybe a little earlier, because tomorrow's Christmas Eve, so they may have gotten off, closer to 3 o'clock or something. But I can just imagine the nightmare that it's going to be with snow, ice, and Packer traffic. thankfully the snow and precipitation is supposed to wrap up around kickoff for the game, so the road should be mostly clear by the time the game's done and people start heading home, which is a very good thing. And that's very good because a lot of times people aren't in quite the full mindset after having a couple of beverages at a Packer game, and pair that with icy roads, and that's a recipe for a nightmare. Actually, I think we will get off here. We'll take the frontage road for a little bit, not the interstate. Oh yeah, between rush hour traffic, the snow, ice, and just holiday traffic in general, because tomorrow's Christmas Eve, it's good. I have a feeling it could get pretty bad pretty quick. Just overall going to be, can't imagine what the police in the area are prepping for between, because there's also some construction between there, so managing construction zones, rush hour traffic, holiday traffic, Packer traffic, and snow and ice is not going to be fun. I have a feeling tow trucks are going to be busy tonight. There we go. This road up here is less maintained because behind us there's a lot of industrial businesses back there with people getting off of work, so they did a better job of clearing those roads, but not much right along this stretch, so a little bit of snow-covered slushiness. Hello, Caitlin. I was really hoping that there would be enough to go out and stream today because I was getting a little... I'm trying to think of the right word. Bored? Bored is a good word. Getting a little bored of having nothing to go out and chase. At the times I'm not talking, there's not a lot of background noise here because usually during severe weather I have the National Weather Service all hazard radio on, but given that there wasn't much to... Yep, stir crazy, perfect word. Or 2 words, depending on how you spell it, but yeah. Yes, and I needed an excuse to try out Starlink, because I didn't want to waste my 50 gigs of data either, because I had ordered it for Black Friday, because it was on sale for like 30% off, which is the first time it was ever on sale, because it's a relatively new product. But I had ordered it for Black Friday, and then it didn't arrive till like December 7th-ish. And then when you first set it up, you have to get the 50 gigs of data for the month so that you can set it up properly. And there was nothing for me to use it for, so I didn't want to waste the money on paying for the data for the month and not have a chance to use it. So this is also nice. Come severe weather season, I'm definitely going to be upgrading from the 50 gigs a month to the unlimited in-motion data, because this is nice for the slower times of the year, like right now, and I'm not constantly using internet every minute of every day chasing severe weather. But definitely going to need that unlimited come severe weather season. Oh, got something going on up here. We are just about to enter Oshkosh from the north. We started in Appleton, and now we're heading down to Oshkosh because that's where the heavier snow bands are predicted to set up. Earlier today it was looking more like the Green Bay, Sturgeon Bay area, but as of a couple hours ago, National Weather Service in Green Bay kind of adjusted the snow totals that it would be more towards the Winnebago County, which is Oshkosh, and then over towards Manitowoc County. Yep. Looks like someone's spun out on the highway here. Oof, they didn't spin out. Their entire wheel just came off of the rim. I guess that's better than spinning out, because it's a lot easier to, replace a tire or even put a spare on than to get all the dents worked out of your vehicle. So... we'll stay on this kind of side road just for a moment, or a little bit longer. Oh, you're from Madison, nice. But yeah, it's nice up here because, at least today, it was just a tiny little bit of kind of freezing rain. And then, oh boy, Hold on. Oof. That was close. Didn't know if the semi behind us was going to be able to stop, because he is really close, as you can see, and then there was a semi coming from the left turning right. And I was like, oh, I thought we were going to get smashed between two semis, which would not have been fun. But yeah, as you can see, he was very, very close. And then we've got this dude in front of us who just cut us off and almost T-boned us. But yeah, I had my moment. Okay, signal's back. I'd much rather chase something like this than just slush. Because when it's slushy and just wet, heavy snow, there's not a whole lot to chase. It's just a matter of, well, is it plowed here or not? And are there slush trails that or ruts that your tires will get stuck in? Stuff's always a pain to shovel too. I hate heavy wet snow. Yeah, sleet isn't fun either. In the house. Let's make sure we can actually stop at this stop sign. Yeah, we're gonna wait right here for a minute because I don't want to try to accelerate and, get T-boned like other people have almost done in front of me, so. Yeah, that's less than ideal. That if you rewind just a couple of seconds, to the left of us there's a bridge that goes over the highway, and you couldn't see over the top of it, so that car in front of me was starting to go just like me. Then he slammed on the brakes just like I did, because all of a sudden, there's a car coming over the top, and neither of us were going to accelerate in time. I don't know how much you dated yourself, because I don't know the joke, so I don't know what date you're referring to. That's what you get when I'm a young person. Jokes just go way over my head. Just stop here for a quick moment. I'm just going to take a look at radar to see where we might want to go. I'm just going to look at a couple of different things and see if there's any new updates from National Weather Service. Yeah, you guys can see what I'm seeing here now. And we're back. Let's try that again. Looks like if we kind of head west a little bit, we can probably take... So from here... I guess we can turn left and then go into downtown Oshkosh a little bit. See if there's any traffic issues down that way. And then from there we can head south, because right now we are right over, or just about to Lake Buenamore. And to go from north to south, there's pretty much only 2 bridges to get over it. One of them is on the interstate here, and that always freezes up and crashes on it and stuff. And the other one's right in downtown Oshkosh. So I guess we'll go and take downtown Oshkosh Bridge. Actually, there's more than just those 2 bridges, but there's 2 main bridges. We'll have fun wrapping those gifts. Yeah, we'll go up to 76 here and then turn south on that. Not that that probably means anything to any of you guys, because probably don't know the area a whole bunch, but or if at all. Need to figure out why not right now, but at some point I'll need to figure out why the signal keeps dropping like that, because it's perfectly fine, and then it's not. So one of you just confirm that it's not just a visual glitch on my end, that the stream actually does like freeze for a couple minutes, for like a minute or so every once in a while? Oh, apparently there's some person just walking out of him. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not anything on your end. That's, for whatever reason, the OBS, the streaming not platform, the encoder that I use is, for whatever reason, like every once in a while, just like not connecting. So I'll need to figure out what's up with that, because the whole point of Starlink and the bonding service is so that that doesn't happen. Because for whatever reason it can't connect to the Starlink. It should be defaulting back to the in-vehicle hotspot that I have here. It's not ideal. It's not ideal to use that hotspot, but it's what I used for all the other chases before I actually had the Starlink. And I gotta say, if you need something that just, you know, hold on. You need something that's just enough to get a signal most of the time when you're not in the middle of nowhere. And I mean, you guys probably saw some of my overnight stream from Texas. The signal drops quite a bit when you're in the middle of nowhere, and it's not the highest upload rates, but given what you pay for it, you go to just like a Walmart or something and get, what is it called? Simply cut out again for a minute there, but the brand is Moxie, Moxee. Oh, wait a minute, it's probably all these trees here. Yeah, we're not going to stop for that. Okay, I think we're back now. Anywho, the brand of the hotspot is Moxee, Moxee. You pay for it. So what I did was I went for the 30 days of data. And for that, it's $50 for 100 gigs of data that you can use throughout the month. Whatever you don't use, you just don't use. It doesn't roll over or anything. But it's not too bad. $50. Alright, so while we're stopped and we have good signal, in case you didn't catch it, the hotspot that I had used for pretty much the last year was just a straight talk one from, literally I got it from Walmart, like $45 to $65, somewhere in there for the device itself. There's no recurring cost or anything. It's just pay for the data each month. And it was $50 for 100 gigs of data, which for storm chasing, when you're not streaming, like I wasn't for a while because the signal isn't reliable enough for that. But it got me decent signal in some fairly remote places. You don't need a lot, just enough to make sure you can get the latest radar scans and all that fun stuff. There were a couple of times where I went on some pretty dang remote roads and that thing had no signal, but I also had no phone signal because it's the middle of nowhere and there's trees everywhere. But yeah, there were a couple of times when I think the worst data hole I was ever in was I didn't have data for about an hour 15 minutes. And it was a little sketchy, not gonna lie. So at that point, I knew I didn't have radar data coming in because I had no internet data. So I decided I'm gonna play it really conservative and just try to not get hit by the worst parts of the storm. So I had no cell data, but I had just my radio with me. So I turned it to the National Weather Service all-weather radio and was listening. And there were a couple times when even that wasn't working well with the number of trees. Because, of course, that was right before I got my roof-mounted antenna for the vehicle. So I was just going off of, like, the little, 16-inch antenna that comes with the radio. So yeah, I was listening to that, and I was just listening, okay, as long as there's no tornado warnings that come out, I'm okay. And I had my radar pulled up so I could look at the cities, because I was getting no data for the radar, but it still had backlogged cached data of like the city names that I could zoom into. So I was able to realize, okay, so if there's a severe thunderstorm warning that came out for this is where that is, and this is where I'm in relation to that. Well, that was a little bit slick. But yeah. Right now we are in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. As of right now, we're kind of just going on the city roads to get to more of the rural roads. That are less maintained and less plowed. It's not anticipated to be a big weather event. It's only supposed to be like 1 to 3 inches of snow, but with the little bit of ice that was accumulated underneath and with holiday travel and all that fun stuff, I figured there was enough to get out here and start streaming a little bit. And no, Amy, that was, for the mechanical mind that wants to know, that was the vehicle's ABS anti-lock braking system. Just because I would say yes, this is a very typical snow day, snow precipitation event in the north. Which is weird for me to say because as Wisconsinite from northeast Wisconsin, usually when I say up north, it means like northern Wisconsin or the UP. But for a lot of people, yes, up north here in Wisconsin, this is a fairly standard snow event. Nothing crazy is anticipated, but just because nothing crazy is anticipated doesn't mean people learn how to drive overnight. Because a lot of times they do stuff like that. Yep, up north, don't you know, yeah? I know exactly where we are because I came down this way for school a lot. But there's definitely more rural roads up ahead that we'll get onto and hopefully be a little more interesting than these mostly semi-plowed city streets here. As long as the plow up there doesn't, plow all the roads in front of us. Otherwise, we'll have to find a different route. Because that's no fun, just following the plow around. Yeah, what was interesting about this system is they were talking about ice accumulations, but I wasn't really seeing anything on the models to back that up. But what a lot of the key was with this one is the pavement temperature was right around 32, 33 degrees. So at first, a lot of the snow that fell melted on the concrete, at least up here. I don't know about other areas in Wisconsin. They may have gotten actual freezing rain to ice. But at least around here, it was the snow fell and melted on the concrete at first, and then with the repeated snow falling on top of it, eventually cooled it down so that it was like a thin layer of ice, and then the snow started accumulating on top of that. Yeah, right there it was nice and slick. That's what would be nice about a four-wheel drive vehicle, because it does help you accelerate, but I mean, I've taken this thing places that you would not imagine a 2015 Buick Encore to go. And I've only gotten stuck once, and I got out of it. So, but that'll be story time for in a couple days when I do my live storm chasing you in review video. I'll get that scheduled probably in the next maybe 2-3 days, but I'm spending some time getting that together. So you'll hear about all the fun experiences that I've had this year. Or maybe not all of them, because I probably won't remember them all, but you get the idea. Looks like we're kind of in a band of less intense snow right now, but there's this stuff over kind of by Berlin and Ripon that's moving eastward, kind of southeast, so we might actually want to go a little bit further south, but all this is just going to keep snowing for the rest of the afternoon, so kind of just take a pick of where you want to be and just kind of ride it out in that area. Especially once we get out of like this treed area here and get a little bit further away from downtown Oshkosh is where the roads should deteriorate faster, because they're not plowed as often and less traffic on it to kind of push the snow away. eventually I might actually make the decision to take I-41 back northbound to see how interesting things get with the Packer traffic in a little bit. The only thing that I'm regretting right now about live streaming this is I can't play Christmas music. Oh no, I'm not going to the game. As fun as that would be. But no, I'm just driving around, kind of seeing how everything goes. But I'm definitely going to be heading up towards the Green Bay area as it gets closer to game time and people start heading up there, because it could get interesting. Yeah, I would turn the radio on, but otherwise it's a whole bunch of copyright stuff because I'm live streaming it through YouTube, and all the songs on the radio would be copyright. So I did find a way around that. No, not a way around it, but I found a way to entertain myself as I'm driving around across the country for severe weather. Is I have subscribed for at least just a couple months to test it out, but to an AI music generation service. So I have custom storm chasing songs about what I do. So yeah, I have custom songs made, and when you use the subscription through the service, you can use that music for commercial purposes, live on YouTube, however you want to use it. So I might have to make a couple of Christmas songs or something like that for when I'm driving through the snow. If you guys really want a little background noise, I could turn on the National Weather Service All Hazards radio, but that would pretty much just be over and over them repeating the exact same stuff, because no new advisories have really come out. During severe weather days, it's you listen and all of a sudden, hey, there's a new warning coming out, so you actually get to listen to something slightly different. But for this, it's just the National Weather Service in Green Bay has issued a winter weather advisory for Outagamie, Calumet, Winnebago, and it just lists the counties over and over again, and it's not really entertaining. But if you guys want background noise, I can do that if you want. So I'll leave it up to you, because it really does not matter to me. Looks like it might be a fun road. Yeah, this looks fun. I guess quiet background noise it is. Or not background noise, background silence. Yeah, I don't know if that was someone that fishtailed, or sometimes people on these county roads, they were in their driveway, and then on their way pulling out of the driveway, they went and checked their mailbox across the street. so they could just drive right up with the driver's side to the window so they wouldn't have to walk out in the snow. That looked almost like they pulled out of the driveway and went to check the mailbox on their way out, but I'm pretty sure we'll see some fishtail marks somewhere on this road. What's really interesting to see is when people, I've seen it a couple times, they have like a hitch on the back of the vehicle and they've wheeled up some sort of contraption so that they can pull both their garbage and recycling bins to the end of the driveway when they have like quarter-mile long driveways. They don't want to walk cans to the bottom and walk them back. They derive like this contraption where it holds both of the cans at proper angles so that the bottom of it doesn't hit and the wheels actually work. It's like, yeah, I mean, it works. Move, birds. I am from northeast Wisconsin, kind of just south of Green Bay. So right now I'm kind of chasing in my home territory. This definitely isn't something I would have driven, 5 hours to go chase, but when it's like 15 minutes away from your house, it kind of makes it an easy choice to chase it. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take 26 southwest kind of towards Ripon here and then catch, what is this? Oh, fantastic. That's Rosendale. But yeah, go to Rosendale and then kind of take that east over to Fond du Lac and then maybe start taking I-41 back up north. Because kickoff for the game is a little over 4 hours. So people will probably start heading up there that way to start tailgating and that stuff, so we'll see how it goes. For those of you that don't know, Rosendale is a very, or at least it was, I've heard that it's changed now, but it was a very notorious speed trap town. Like they had, I think, one cop for the town. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, they have like one cop for the town, and he was notorious for writing tickets for people going like 1 mile per hour over the speed limit. But I've heard that he has, I'm not sure, I've heard from a couple different people that it's not as bad as it was. I don't know if he moved to a different place or if there was more cops there or something, but it was like if you went 1 mile per hour over the speed limit, expect to get a ticket in Rosendale. It was that bad. Howdy, Green Frogger. Yeah, this is more of a major highway, so there's not a lot of snow on this. But actually, we might take a left turn up here just to get off of this here nicely plowed road. Yeah, anyone from anywhere near Rosendale has pretty much heard about Rosendale and how notorious it is for that. The second I thought that was a semi off the road, but no, trailer's just parked there. Yeah, I think we'll turn left up here onto, what is this? Then we'll go up to Olden Road, I think, depending on how this one looks. Actually, this looks kind of fun, so we'll take this turn. Oh yeah, this looks fun. I don't think they've plowed this road at all. Yeah, they definitely haven't plowed this road. Can't tell, but this might be gravel underneath. Yeah, it feels like gravel. It's got that distinct rumble underneath it. As long as I stay near the middle and don't go off into the ditch, we should be perfectly fine. Yeah, I rarely go through Rosendale just because I never have to head down that way. If I have to go, whenever I go southwest towards Dubuque, I just take, what is it, I-41 down to Fond du Lac, and then, what is it? Whatever that, like 114 maybe? Oh yeah, no problem. I find this quite entertaining myself. Because the paved roads are no fun. It's pretty much no different than driving any other day. Alright, stop sign ahead at the top of a hill. Just in case there's anyone coming over the top of that hill, so I wouldn't have been able to see them. I did not want them to crest over the top of that hill and then hit me head on. And just like that, we're back to a somewhat paved road. like we'll take this south to El Dorado. And then, depending on how it's panning out, we'll either head slightly west or then head up north to catch some of that Green Bay Packer traffic as it goes to the Monday night game. In case anyone is wondering, I am very pleased with the Starlink that I have gotten. I said it earlier and I'll say it again. It's not mounted on the roof, it's just pretty much sitting on the dashboard right now, which is why there's a line down the middle of the screen, because that's the reflection of the Starlink on the windshield, because I don't have the roof mount yet. And this is the Starlink Mini. I know a lot of the Chasers have like the big, I think it's the Starlink High Performance or something. That one's like 3 times bigger than this one is, and power consumption on that is much, much higher. This one is pretty much designed so that people can take it with them if they go hiking or something. Like put it in a backpack and it can run off of just like a power tool battery if you have the right adapter. So the Starlink Mini here is only, I think, it's usually $600, but for Black Friday it was like $390. I think it was like $400. But and the high performance Starlink that a lot of them use is like $2,500 for that, and I was like, I'm not doing that right now. One, because that's pretty dang expensive, as you can imagine. 2, it is a whole lot bigger, and there's not a whole lot of roof space on a 2015 Buick Encore. And in addition to that, I couldn't pull that much power from my alternator on this vehicle with all the other equipment I'm running. Because, well, I would have to get a high output alternator to increase the amperage for all this stuff. And it's not worth putting a high output alternator on a Buick Encore. Because when the car goes toast, like all cars eventually do, no one's going to care that it has a high output alternator on it. And the alternator would have been about another $1,500 based on the quote I got. Because it's not only the alternator itself, which is only about $400, I think. The labor to install it adds up, and then they also have to, based on what I was told, they have to adjust like the grounds and stuff and do calculations for the rest of the default equipment in the vehicle, because the higher amperage, you don't want that to fry the equipment in the vehicle. So, yeah. The monthly on the Starlink Mini, I think it's for all Starlink. Well, not all Starlink, I take that back. Only some of them have the feature that they work while they're in motion. Like other times you have to, for a lot of them, you have to be like under 10 miles an hour or something for it to be working. I'm just going to wait right here, because wait for that vehicle to pass. But for the standard ones, you have to be like under 10 miles an hour for it to keep a signal. To use roaming in motion, it's $50, I believe. It's $50 for 50 gigs. And then after that, I think it's $2 for every extra gig of data that you use. for just like pay by the gig, or you can get the unlimited roaming in motion data for I think it's $165 a month, which is what I will be going to once severe weather season starts. But data isn't cheap, but the fact that you can pay $160, I think it's $165 for unlimited data in the middle of nowhere off a Starlink Mini, that is just like invaluable. So there's also a higher one. I believe that when you get that, it's not I'm almost certain it's not priority data. It's just like standard using data. Hold on. You can get priority data for like government organizations or whatnot. They advertise it for like mobile command centers and that for SWAT and emergency management and stuff, where you can get like 2 terabytes of priority data where like if there's any signal in the world from the Starlink in that area, you'll get signal. It's not, well, you have to compete with the other people. Oh, that's a limousine. You don't have to compete with the other people pulling Starlink in the area, but that's like I think $2,500 a month or something like that for the priority data. Which, if you need priority data, by golly, that would definitely be worth it. But for standard use, or not standard use, but for what I do, that's one, way, way, way too expensive, and two, there's no need for it. And for the record, no, I'm not sponsored by Starlink, but if they would like to give me a sponsorship, I'll be more than happy to take it. Or even any sort of discount on the data. But, anywho, I did quite a bit of research before buying Starlink because I wanted to make sure that the Starlink Mini would do what I needed it to do. So here we are, we're that blue dot. We're heading west, kind of towards Ripon, so we'll get into that band of heavier snow again in just a couple minutes. Here we go, the notorious Rosendale. We have arrived. So here we go, speed limit goes down to 45 miles an hour up ahead. So right now I'm going 34. Exactly, and that's another point that I had thought about was I wasn't sure how well the Starlink Mini would perform, like even in a snow event like this with the clouds above us and the frozen water vapors up ahead, how much that would block the signal. But I, so far, really have no complaints other than, for whatever reason, it's cutting out every now and then. But I think that's more of an issue with my bonding service and not the Starlink itself. because Starlink can't control whether it gets a signal from the satellite or not. If there's a tree over it, it won't get the signal. But I'll have to figure out what's going on with that and hopefully get it taken care of. Honestly, if there wasn't the glare from the Starlink on the windshield, I wouldn't mind just like finding a way to mount it right to the dashboard here. But I don't think that would probably be the best idea. Because the reasoning behind that is, well, it's inside, so I don't have to worry about it getting hit by hail or something. Or it'd have to go through the windshield first instead of hitting this windshield and Starlink if it's on the roof. And I would need to find a way to mount it properly to the roof so that it can't just be easily taken off if someone wanted to take it, because that's something that I'm slightly concerned about. You never know where you're going to drive and what people are like when you get there, so. But I'll figure it out. Pulled over up here. I'm gonna go slow just to make sure that they're not like stuck in the ditch or something. I don't see any four-ways on yet. Ah, it's a cop. That's why he's pulled over. Follow 23 north up into northwest up into Ripon. Oh man, that road looked fun. Hold on, folks, we might have to turn around. That road looked really fun. Maybe this one will take us to that road. That is not a road. That is a field driveway. Here's the road. What do you mean? The roads look fun. Where's your sense of adventure? Yeah. Alright, we'll get to that road in a moment. The roads out here ain't gonna be plowed yet, so gotta enjoy them while we can. Yeah, that would be less than ideal. I can see why that would hurt your sense of adventure a little bit. Here we go. Oh, this is actually really pretty. Woo, slide, slide. The signal might drop out because of all the trees, but my gosh, this is really pretty. I might have to get out and take a picture. Yeah, I'm gonna get out and take a picture. That's how cool it is. I'm willing to go outside in the cold and the snow to get a picture. There's quite a bit of snow out there. I'm pretty sure I have a tape measure somewhere in the vehicle here. I'm gonna see if I can get a snow reading of depth. But I'm gonna pull off to the side just in case there happens to be another vehicle that would come. Yeah, right here. Oh boy. Okay, that's less than ideal. I think we just hit a patch of ice. I'm gonna have to get out and check. Oh yeah, that's clear ice under here, so I'll be back in a couple minutes. See if we can get out of here with the traction boards. Woohoo! First time I've ever used those traction boards, and I'm glad I have them. Oh, and we're back. See if we can try this again. Looks like I need them again. Okay, no more stopping for pictures, that's for sure. Because we were fine when we're moving, But as soon as we stopped, I didn't have enough traction, so it just spit the snow out from underneath the tires, exposing the ice. But thank goodness I have traction boards. I'm really glad I bought those. Never had to use them before, never had to test them, but by golly, they worked twice in like 2 minutes. So if I didn't have those recovery boards, I would have been screwed, honestly. Traction boards can get really, really expensive depending on the quality that you want or that you need. The ones I got, I think they were like 60 to 70 bucks or something like that. I can look them up for you in a moment, a little bit later when I get out of this mess. See, we're fishtailing all the way around here. I think the brand that I have are Bunker, like Bunker, Bunker recovery boards. I know you can get ones that are way more expensive. It can hold more weight and stuff. I mean, kind of get what you pay for, but I mean, they worked, and they're rated to hold up to like 10,000 pounds, I think. Yeah, floor mats could definitely work if it's a very particular situation, but I didn't want to ever have to rely on those. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to get some of these recovery boards. And for this vehicle, I don't know how well 2 recovery boards would work on a rear-wheel drive vehicle, because if your front tires have no traction, you can't do any steering. Like back there, the incline on the side of the road was trying to put me into the ditch. Like I was actually sliding sideways. Like I literally felt the vehicle not go forward at all, but just go to the right about 7 inches. The only reason I was able to get out of that was because I was able to turn my front wheels and then put the traction or the recovery boards underneath. And then when I used the gas, I was able to turn myself out of there because the wheels were already turned. But if it's a rear-wheel drive vehicle, I don't know how well it would work with at least just 2 recovery boards. It could work perfectly fine, but I just don't have experience with those vehicles. Oh, got someone sliding around them. Now I just gotta make sure that they'll be able to get started again because they're turning into their driveway. Alright, they made it. I could have gotten slightly longer recovery boards but due to the width of my vehicle, they wouldn't have fit like perpendicular to the way the vehicle runs, and I would pretty much always have to have a seat folded down. So I think these are only like 36-inch boards, but they work perfectly for me because they fit in the back of my vehicle real nice. So despite all that, I did not get a snow depth reading because, well, I just didn't. Luckily, it was a fairly even, non-sloped driveway. I just felt kind of bad that they had to stop for me because then they lost all their momentum. Right about now, we're in the heaviest band of snow, just southeast of Ripon. So we'll probably just stay on this road and go back to Rosendale, and then take that northeast road. I think that's 26. Stop. Lots of cars. Actually, I need to stop just for a moment because I'll explain in a moment. Alright, I'm back. So basically when I opened the trunk, there's a cardboard/fabric area that goes over the top to keep stuff from flying around. And when I opened the trunk, it came unlatched and it got stuck against the top of the rear windshield. So I couldn't see anything out the back window because, there's a cover over it. So now I can see out the back window again, which is good. Here's your tip of the day. If you go out driving in snow, have a way to get out by yourself if you can. Like traction board, recovery boards, absolutely fantastic. Do not know what I would have done without those. Probably would have had to call a tow truck. There was just so happened that there was a pickup truck that came up like right behind me and had to wait for me to get out both times because he just didn't want to pass me. don't think even he would have been able to pull anyone out, just because there was no traction underneath any of that. Lots of brake lights. Cop's still there. Yeah, I've never tried kitty litter. I know some people have talked about it. A lot of people have, actually. But even kitty litter would have its limits. I would, honestly, in my opinion, I would probably pass on the kitty litter unless it's like an absolute necessity for a lot of people. Because either they can't afford anything else, or that's just what they have. Don't get me wrong, kitty litter would be absolutely better than nothing. But I would definitely have to go with the recovery boards. And you can get some that are pretty dang cheap, but I personally wouldn't get the ones that are super cheap, because, you know, if that's all that's helping you get out of a snowbank, you don't want it to be some cheap piece of plastic. If it's a cheap piece of plastic, you don't want it to, well, first you want it to actually be able to get you out. Second, if it's too cheap of plastic and in the cold air it gets brittle and then you put the weight of the vehicle on it, it could snap and then you would be stuck in the snow or the mud or whatever and have sharp plastic that has now punctured 2 of your tires. But like I said, if that's all someone has or all they can afford, by all means have kitty litter in your vehicle. But even having kitty litter in your vehicle in addition to traction boards, I keep calling them traction boards, recovery boards. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have both. Especially, I mean, if it's like sheer ice, there would be nothing for the recovery boards to grip onto. So in that case, the kitty litter might actually be better. Okay, actually, I'll go to story time now, and then you guys can, because you guys are here, then you'll probably hear about it again on the year in review video that I'll have in a couple days. But so I was in Oklahoma chasing a storm. Yeah, probably end of May, beginning of June, somewhere around there. I was really close to Enid, and I was on the road. I was chasing the storm, obviously, because, you know, that's what I do. And then all of a sudden, with like no warning, the road turns from gravel to that Oklahoma clay. That's that red, nasty, sticky clay. And it's absolutely pouring buckets right now. And I knew that if I tried to stop and turn around, I would definitely get stuck for sure. Because it felt like I was driving on butter-covered ice. That's how bad it was. So eventually I just got like stuck and I couldn't move anymore. I stepped out of the vehicle, there was literally 4 inches of mud stuck on the outside of my tires. That's how sticky the clay was. So I got out. I had a little shovel with me, like I always do. So I was able to, scrape off the mud or the clay from the outside of the tires to try to get a little traction. I walked back to the vehicle. My boots literally weighed over 5 pounds each. That's how much clay was on them. So I got in the vehicle. I went at it again. I got about 20 feet further. And then I got stuck again. And then I tried shoveling out, scraping off the outside of the tires again, and it was just, there was no chance of moving. So, this was like one of my first times chasing, so I absolutely had no idea what to do. So I messaged 2 of my buddies, and then they helped me actually get out of it because they had experience with that kind of stuff before. They had me go out and take some PSI out of the tires to make them squishier so that there's more tread in contact with the ground. And then eventually I just waited, maybe an hour or so for the clay to dry out a little bit, and I was able to get out. But then story time is not over yet. About maybe 2 hours after I got stuck, I finally got out, and by now, thank goodness I was in a position that I wasn't in imminent danger of getting hit by any part of the storm. It was pretty much over me by the time I got stuck, because that's why it got all muddy and nasty. But, so, I didn't even think twice about letting the air out of my tires because I knew I had an air compressor in the back of the vehicle. I never went anywhere without it. Well, that air compressor is also quite a few years old. So I got out of the mud. It's pitch black. I'm pretty much in the middle of a field. So I finally get back to a paved road. I don't want to go too fast because I have 15 PSI in my tires. So I don't want to go any faster than that. So I was going, and I found a nice gas station to stop at, and I unplugged everything else out of my cigarette outlet, plugged in the air compressor, and I started up, and it was running, but after 2 minutes there was still no air in the tires, in one of the tires. And I was like, oh, that's fantastic. So what I did was no, that's not what happened. It wasn't even starting. The air compressor wasn't even starting. So what I did was I unhooked it from the cigarette outlet and plugged it back in and started it up again. It ran for about 1.5 seconds, and then it blew the fuse for the cigarette outlet. And of course, with it being one of my first times out chasing, I didn't have any extra fuses with me for that. So then there I was at probably 11:30 at night, pitch black, almost the middle of nowhere. Well, not the middle of nowhere, but this time I made it to a city. But now I had no cigarette outlet to plug the air compressor into, and the cigarette outlet is literally what I have almost all my equipment plugged into. But I knew to unplug all of that before I plugged in the compressor. So I had no way to charge my phone, no way to hook up my laptop to charge it. I had no power for anything. Luckily, my phone was fully charged. Anywho, I finally made it to a gas station that had an air compressor pump on it, air compressor on it. I walk over to the machine. It says out of order. Okay, that's understandable. It's kind of not in the middle. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's not the most upkept place in the world. And then I went to another gas station, had an air compressor. You could only use quarters to pay for it. I had no quarters on me. The store was closed, so I couldn't have even gone in and exchanged cash for a couple of quarters or something to fill up the tires. I made it to yet another gas station. Meanwhile, this entire time I'm driving 20 miles an hour because of the low air in my tires. Made it to a third gas station, and this one was also out of order. So I had to drive 15 more miles down the road at like 15 miles an hour. I finally made it to a Love's truck stop, because I figured if anyone had a working air compressor, they would. They did have one that worked. It cost me $6 to fill up the air in my tires because it was, what was it? Because it was like $2 for like 2 minutes of air or something. No, it was only $4 total. It was $2 for like 3 or 4 minutes of air. But since all of my tires were at like 15 psi, it took more than just the 2 minutes to fill up all the tires. So I paid $4, and the only thing I had on me was like my credit card. So there I was outside a Love's truck stop tapping my credit card to fill up my tires with air, despite having an air compressor in my vehicle, because it didn't work. But since I was at the Love's truck stop, I was also able to go in and get some 10 amp fuses, either 10 or 15, whatever it was. I was able to go get the proper fuses, and I was able to replace the fuse the next morning. Safe to say, as soon as I got home after that chase, that air compressor, it went in the garbage, and I got a brand new one. And I have tested it, and it works. And it does not blow the fuse, which is good. And even if it does, I now have extra fuses with me. But yeah. Yeah, that's the stuff that most people don't think about when they go out storm chasing. It's something that's like, yeah, so I have this equipment, yeah, I have an air compressor, but what if it doesn't work? What if it blows the fuse? Well, I don't have any extra fuses with me, and now you're stuck in the middle of nowhere with no air in your tires. It's like, that's the stuff that people learn from. Luckily, I was in a position where I was able to learn from it without being in harm's way. But if there was someone that was like, chasing a tornado, and there's a tornado coming towards them, and they were like, oh, I'll just fill up my tires with air, and then they can't. It's all part of the unrealized or unthought of dangers when storm chasing. It's not just driving and chasing clouds. There's a lot that can go wrong, and you got to be prepared. Like the recovery boards. Someone who was just out driving, chasing snow that didn't have them would have probably been in doo-doo. They would have possibly ended up in the ditch if they just kept gunning it. Luckily, I knew better than that because I could feel it slipping. But yeah, it's all the unrealized parts of storm chasing. And then I think it was the next day, ? So this must have been like May 23rd or 24th. No. Hold on, I'm thinking. Because the first tornado I ever saw was the Mountain View EF3 on May 26th. And I went home in between then. So I was chasing that Monday. Because May 21st was the Greenfield tornado. So I was there for that. And then the next day was the drive home because I spent a whole ton of time in Greenfield helping out right after it happened. So I did that. So that would have been the 22nd. And I drove back to Wisconsin. So I think it was the 24th. May 24th is when this all happened. It's crazy how these dates just stick with you in your head. Like, it's like, well, what day did that happen? But then you start to piece everything together and like, okay, this memorable event happened this day. A couple days later, it was that. And it's like you just all start to piece it back together. Yep, there are certain dates that'll just stick with you in your head for forever. Like May 21st, 2024. That is a day that I will never ever forget. But anyway, we are getting close to being back at I-41, and then we'll take that and start heading north back towards, well, Oshkosh, Appleton, probably not Green Bay, at least based on radar right now, because it looks like the snow was pretty much wrapped up there. Yeah, looks like this event might actually be starting to wind down a little earlier than expected. They're anticipating this not wrapping up till closer to 7 o'clock tonight. But so yeah, we'll take I-41 up to see how traffic is looking from the Packer game, and we, depending on how things look, we'll potentially end it there, or maybe we'll drive around on a couple of back roads. Who knows? But Yeah, I just pulled up Google Maps, and there's definitely some crashes on I-41 in pretty much the places that I was telling you they usually occur. Right at the 441 interchange. And there's a couple others, but already a ton of brake lights, so we'll see how this goes. So yeah, see how traffic is as we head north. It's already starting to feel a little congested compared to what it usually is, because I can just, the number of cars, I can tell that it's heavier Packer game traffic because I drive this area a lot. So after a certain amount of time, you kind of get a feel for normal traffic flow and patterns, even with snow. Oh yeah, the Butamore Bridge. Yeah, that's usually fun. At least there's not construction on it anymore. Over the summer, there was a ton of construction on it. It went down to like one, maybe 2 lanes depending on the day. And yeah, that was not fun. Just regular traffic. Can't imagine during snow. A couple times I went over that bridge during the construction. It was raining really heavy, and that was bad enough. As of right now, Google Maps is not saying that there was a crash at that location. Oh, what's going on? There's a snowplow ahead. That's why the semis are ducking around. And now I-41 is under even more construction because from Appleton to Green Bay, they were expanding it from 2 lanes to 3 lanes. It's well overdue. It's needed that for a long time, but just because of the state budgeting stuff, funding for it, and the fact that it'll be a pain in the ass for anyone driving while it's under construction, because then a lot of times it goes down to 1 lane overnight or whatever, because they have to have vehicles go along the side and construction and all that fun stuff. And it's a big project because the bridges or the overpasses over the highway, overpasses on the highway aren't wide enough and are not designed to span that distance. So pretty much, I think there's maybe one that they thought ahead and did that, but all the other ones, they literally have to take the bridges down and build all new bridges with new structural designs so that they can span the distance of the 3 lanes going each direction with only like 1 support in the middle. Yeah, they pretty much have to redo every bridge between where it's 2 lanes on the north side of Appleton over to almost the south side of Green Bay until it goes back up to 3 lanes again. Someone who doesn't want to go slow. Have made it over that bridge and there was no crash, which is good. fun plans for the holidays? It's kind of an awkward silence in the vehicle when there's nothing to talk about and there's no background noise. It's just like dead silence. Hi, G. As a Wisconsin Knight and a Packer fan, I agree. Go Pack, go. Right now I'm on I-41, just going through Oshkosh, heading north towards Green Bay. Probably gonna stop around Appleton unless it looks like there's stuff up ahead, but I don't want to get caught in Packer traffic just to be caught in Packer traffic. So okay. So yeah, I'm coming from the south up north towards Green Bay. And they always say Packer fans travel well, so even for home games, so makes sense. Came down from up north, eh? Up north. So traffic looks like it'll be pretty good for probably the next 15-ish miles. Then that's where things start to get a little hairy again. Oh, yes, I'm sure there's a lot of people tailgating already. They probably started at like 10 o'clock this morning. Would not surprise me one bit, especially people that have had like off today to go to the game and it's the day before Christmas Eve. I could see some people making a whole day out of this. Just go and tailgate, play some outdoor games or something, make snow angels in the snow, and then go to the game. Right now the current exterior temperature is 31 degrees. Which is very warm for a late December Packer game, but just cold enough to make all the roads get icy, so Exactly. Which is why I'm sure they have the plows out in full force salting I-41 north from Green Bay and south from Green Bay. Because that could be a mess. Here is another typical car crash site during snow. So hopefully it's also clear. On this stretch of I-41 there's a lot of curves that are also bridges, so they ice up faster than the rest of the roads. So this little curve here is the lesser of the known accident sites. But up here is the big one where a lot of stuff usually happens. That I referenced and pointed out on the way as we went south earlier. The stream today has so far gone pretty much how I had expected it. Actually maybe even a little more entertaining than I had thought, but it was fun. And we're not done yet. Here is the turn, because this is all a bridge. And it's a tight turn, and a lot of times people end up in that median. There's some weird stuff that happens at that curve there. Accidents. I know one of my family members was driving through and right in front of them, someone lost a four-wheeler right off the back of the trailer, and it landed right in the middle of the highway at like 4 o'clock in the morning. That's guess they didn't say that's not going anywhere before they left the house. Here's where it'll start getting interesting again with heavy traffic, and looks like there's a couple of crashes that are reported. Time to redo it as soon as they finish the construction up ahead, so then it'll just be another stretch of road along here that's closed for construction. Here's the slowdowns. here's one of the bridges that they redid. I think that's the only one that they've redone so far. Because that wasn't wide enough for the 3 lanes. Might get off at this next exit. We are coming, oh, maybe. Yep, we're coming to a complete stop on the interstate. Like a lot of the crashes have now cleared now, and now it's just slowdowns. But oh, hey, look, it's Plumbo. Hey, Mr. Plumbo, guess what I had to do today? I got to test out my traction boards, my recovery boards, and safe to say that they work. Had to use them twice. Now, since the the interstate is pretty much at a standstill from packer traffic, and there's really nothing interesting going on up there, we're just going to find some unplowed back roads to drive on. Oh, they are for sure super handy. I would not have made it out of there without those recovery boards. Temperature has now dropped to 30 degrees, so any unsalted, untreated roads will now be turning icy. Yes, lots of icy ice. So stream will probably only go for maybe another 30 minutes or so, because there's only so many roads around here that are still unplowed. And the snow is stopping, as you can see. Snow bands are dissipating and moving southeast, so everything up here is kind of getting not snowy now, so then that's good, because it'll give the plow drivers time to catch up on the roads that they haven't gotten to yet, but not as fun for when you're looking for snow-covered roads. So ideally I'm looking for some country roads, or some rural roads, because it's not ideal and it's slightly frowned upon when you decide to go through unplowed residential neighborhoods. It's like, well, it's like just driving in front of people's houses, they get like weird, which is kind of understandable. But tell you what, if we find some nice unplowed residential streets, we'll take them. Yeah, I don't know if I want to stop for any more pictures. I still have to share those with you guys. I was going to upload them, but then I started sliding sideways into a ditch, so I had to take other precautions of getting out the recovery board instead of sending you those pictures. But it was really pretty and photogenic. I'm just trying to look at the map here and find non-dark colored roads that indicate that they are smaller, possibly gravel roads that would be unplowed. So really, oh, I think I might have just found some roads. Here we go. Rock Road is what we'll be turning on to. Here's some road. Looks like this one's been plowed at least once. But still better than the one we were just on, so not complaining. I am wisdomous. Sure, why not? how much longer we'll be out here, because these roads are kind of pathetic now that it's not snowing on top of them anymore. Watch me as I say that I slip sideways or something. Always stop at a stop sign and look for trains. Very pretty scenery along here. Looks like we will keep going straight because this is a very plowed road. And there's not as pretty of scenery. It's been a quite relaxful day. It's been quite nice. First time I've actually done a snow chase. So it's a whole lot different than a storm chase and a lot more relaxing. Typically. Ooh, looks like there's some more pretty scenery up ahead, so we'll keep going. way do I want to go? I'm actually going to stop and look at the map quick to see where I want to end up going. I think we'll turn left. Well, I guess we'll see if we'll make it up this hill. The little vehicle that could. This is a little slick right in here. This is pretty along in here. As long as no deer jump out of the grass or something. A somewhat fun road coming. Oh, I think it is coming up. I think we're going to take a fun road. just missed the turn. Might be wrapping up the stream pretty soon because there's not much left to stream. Because, well, snow has stopped for this area. And then the roads have pretty much all gotten plowed except for a couple of the smaller side roads. Most of those are dead ends. I don't want to have to try to slow down. That's very helpful. You guys see that? There was a yield ahead sign about 20 feet before the yield sign for the railroad tracks. Like, oh, thanks for letting me know after I'm already on the tracks. Oh, Keenan, I'm gonna drive someplace and show you something. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I've been meaning to take a picture and send it to you, but I keep forgetting every time I drive past it. This way. I actually don't know if I'll be able to stop because there's quite a bit of traffic coming up. But if we don't see it, I'll go back around so you can see it. I think it's right up here. I think. Or did we pass it already? We may have passed it. Yeah, I'll have to go back around. Which I guess means we just have to take more back roads, which is just a shame. this is a nice street. Try this again. This is a little fun back here. That's a little bit of a slip and slide. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. It's got to be right up here, because we must have just missed it by like half a block when we turned the other time. think this is it. No, that's not it. What the heck? Where is it? There's no way they took it down after it being up for like 5 years. Oh my gosh, I think they did put up a new sign. It was there on Sunday, yesterday, so they must have put it up today. Or I'm just looking in the complete wrong place. But I don't think I am, because I've gone past it. Well, I guess I'll just tell you what it was. It was a sign that said land for sale, and the phone number was 920-707-0707. It was Keenan's phone number, apparently. I know, right? But now I'm gonna see if I can see it coming from this direction. And then if I see it, I will turn us around so that you too can see it. But there's a new sign of land for sale that does not look like it's been up very long, and the other one appears to be missing. And it's like almost on the same corner where I'm 95% sure it was. Yeah, I'm not seeing the sign, which is unfortunate because it was literally there yesterday morning. Because I drove through here and I was going to stop and take a picture, but I couldn't because the traffic was too bad. Or I just don't see it in the dark, which is also slightly possible, in which case I'll still have a chance to take a picture at some point. But I don't know for sure. Traffic for the game has cleared out quite a bit. It's not at a standstill anymore. Which is probably a good thing if people wanted to get to the game on time. Because from here, there's still about, on a day with zero game traffic, there's still probably about 45 minutes away from the stadium. No, not from here. That's like 30 minutes. And by the time they park, get through security, yeah, if they wanted to get to the game, they should probably not be stuck in traffic right now, which is good. I'm gonna check something. Ha! Guess what? We're going to college. As much as I would absolutely love to do donuts in this parking lot, I'm not going to. Unfortunately. What I am going to do check something. Yes, I have the Kern hat. Oh, because the parking lot hasn't been plowed yet, I was able to get accurate snow measurement readings. Looks like here they only got about 1.25 inches of snow. So just because I can, I'm just gonna send that report in, because why not? Yeah, pretty pathetic for snow. Oh, 7:07. I just opened up X to look. Wow, I can't talk. To send in that report, and I see something from NWS Bay Area for California that apparently there's huge storm swell coming through from that massive atmospheric river going through. And apparently part of the Santa Cruz Pier in California collapsed and is now floating in the ocean. Almost there. Let me check something else real quick. Stop for Sasquatch. Got it. That's an odd place to park, but okay. And we are now leaving college. Hope everyone had a nice time. I will collect tuition at the end of the stream. If you need federal financial aid, please fill out the form. Or something like that, I don't know. Only some of you graduated. So, we will continue for probably not much longer. I know I said that like an hour ago. But I also kind of wanted to wait to see how the camera worked at picking up stuff at night when there was snow on the ground for added light. Just as an experiment, so the added reflections. this one we will. That was slick. Very slick. I think I'm probably going to start winding it down a little bit. What I'll do... pull over into here for a moment. Oi. Alright. So I'm going to work on winding the stream down. In the meantime, I have a couple of things that I need to make sure I post, because I haven't gotten everything up and running quite yet for the commands and chat. Thought I did, but apparently Streamlabs had other ideas. So, got link to the Discord. That is still a work in progress, but it's getting closer and closer every week. So, got a whole lot of stuff going on in there. And then got website's also up and running now. Still, of course, work in progress as well. And so that's what we've got going. Thanks for everyone who hopped on the stream today. I had quite a bit of fun. Made sure to put those recovery boards to good use to prevent me from going in the ditch any further. And check out the links in the chat and have a good night.